All right, we are going to make our lovely maze now. So we're going to deal with the top edge of this paper being our horizon line, and each corner is our vanishing point. We are going to start by going approximately 6 inches. It's not really approximate, it's exactly. And then going somewhere between 2 to 3 inches up. So 2 inches is right about here, and honestly that feels tall enough for me because I want to make sure I have a lot of space for my actual maze details. So as always, we are going to go connecting the top and the bottom of that vertical edge back. It's really important to have a nice sharp pencil while you're working on this. As it gets duller, the line gets thicker, and that can get really muddy, and when you're doing tiny little detail work, because this is a pretty small piece of paper, it can become a really big problem for your details. We also want to add in a pretty big size. It's kind of up to you how big to make it. You don't want to make it too high up to the top, because you do want to be able to see this back square kind of looking shape. So like this does want to be a square, but like you don't want to put this too far up. That's too high. You don't want to like have it stop. You don't want to put these way back here so that you have a really skinny little top, because that's going to be hard to work with. You don't want to put it way down here, because then you're going to have a really small space to fit your maze into. So try to find a good middle point. Mine's a little uneven, which I don't like. I'm actually going to change this a little bit because my maze is even. I have 12 by 12 grid that I made for my example. So I'm going to try actually a little bit more like that. My cat just got a new toy and she's having a lot of fun with it right now in the background. I don't know if you hear all that crinkling. That's just her playing with her tunnel. Anyway, so this looks a little bit more even because my maze, I started with this sheet right here. So I had this grid piece of paper. First we map it out on a grid sheet so that you can have like a standard size and you're not having to make a grid every time you want to practice. You're going to start by adding these outer walls. So you're going to make a block all the way around so it stops you. You're going to add entrances later, but start with your maze so that it's all completely closed off. And your walls have to be at least 1 block thick. You are then going to fill in the stuff that you want to be your maze. You have to actually have a path. So this one, if you go all the way around here, you have a path. You can have some dead ends. You can have some things that don't go anywhere at all. And then I shaded in where my actual line was. You can or cannot, it's up to you. Sometimes it helps, sometimes it gets more confusing. This is your plan, so you want it to be as easily understandable by you as possible. When we're doing this, it says every vertical line goes to the left vanishing point. So all of these lines coming up here, this edge of my box, goes to this left vanishing point. So this edge right here is actually this line right here. This edge right here, every horizontal line goes to the right, is this line right here. So we have to make a width here to get into our space. Mine is a 12 by 12 grid. So when I'm looking at my edges here, my paper is approximately 16 centimeters, which works out for me because I want my boxes to be bigger in the front and smaller in the back. So I don't want it to be exactly 12 and then like mark it all off, because it won't actually look like it's getting tighter in depth the way it should. So I'm just gonna kind of go, let's start with 2, 2, 1.5, 1.5, 1.5. Let's go to almost 1, almost 1. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So that fills up my boxes for my grid on that side. I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Okay, so that gives me all of my boxes. And then, just like I did before, I'm going to connect these lightly, as always lightly, make my grid across the top here. boring to watch, but you can see that in the front here my boxes are bigger and they get smaller as they go back, smaller as they go back, and smaller as they go back. That way it actually looks like the maze is popping out at you on the lovely paper. I am also sharpening my pencil because having drawn this much stuff, it was getting really dull, which again makes it really difficult to get the fine line details that we want. So now my job is to come here and look at where my actual walls are and take my eraser now and say, okay, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 blocks up is one connected line. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So to this line here, I can erase the inside parts here. And I can take my pencil and really darken up these lines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 to here. So that I know that's where that goes. Now you do have to be careful because like I just realized 3 blocks up I actually have a little indent. So this guy actually includes here. Like so. You're going to keep doing that across the entire maze until you have your areas all connected. Don't make your lines too light because we are going to use pencils to shade here. I'm actually going to pause the video so you don't have to watch a sped up version of me doing this, but just know that I'm about to go do this and you have to do it too.